Sam, are you about ready?
Yes, it's a glorious 3-hour finale.
You got a minute and a half.
For your own safety and the safety of other drivers, please do not bump the car ahead of you or stop your car in the middle of the track.
Ellen, since this is your dream, we'll let you make the first selection.
All right, Alex. I will take eeny, meeny, miny, fossil fuels for, let's go for 100.
Fine. The answer is
WDW Radio, your information station.
Hello, my friend, and welcome to WDW Radio Live. I am your host, Lou Mongello, and this is show number 788. And together, I want to not only help you have the best possible vacation experience when you go to the Disney parks, but I also want to bring you a little bit of that Disney magic wherever you are. Here on the podcast, my weekly live video every Wednesday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on YouTube and Facebook, blog, live event, weekly newsletter, and more. Please join the community and find everything at WDWradio.com. And I am super excited to introduce a new segment this week that I'm calling Out of This World. And that's going to be where we look at some of the remarkable places you should make it a point to go to in Orlando on your next visit to Walt Disney World. And of course, we're going to start off with some of the best, shocker, dining experiences that are worth a visit, whether you're on vacation or a local. So if you want to know where I go when I'm not dining on property, here's my list, our list, of favorite places to eat in Orlando. Then, of course, stay tuned for our Disney Trivia Question of the Week. More updates at the end of the show. Be sure to connect with me on social. I am at Lou Mongello. Subscribe to the newsletter and get a copy of my free 102 Things to Do in Walt Disney World at least once book, free at WDWradio.com. And if you like what you hear, please share the show and tell a friend. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's episode of the WDW Radio Show. It probably wasn't until I started talking about Walt Disney World and dining on the show back in 2005 that I really started to appreciate, I think, just how good the food and dining options are in the parks and resorts. I swear I really was skinny at some time. And I don't think it was until I moved here in 2008 that I really understood just how many other dining experiences and other experiences there were beyond the four corners of the Disney property. And while there's so many, like literally hundreds of dining locations in Walt Disney World, with some being my favorite places to eat anywhere on the planet, Orlando itself has some remarkable restaurants outside Walt Disney World property. And so this week, as part of a little experiment, I want to introduce a possible new segment idea that I'm calling Out of This World, where we look at some of the experiences that, whether you're traveling to visit the parks from somewhere else or, like me, have Disney in your backyard, are worth taking the drive for. And of course, we have to start with food. And so this week, we're going to share 10, or really as many as we need, restaurants off Walt Disney World property that are worth the drive and you need to try. And when I say we, I am not the only lunatic to pack up his family, leave their job, leave it all behind, and move to Walt Disney World, literally in the shadow of Cinderella Castle, and also who love food as much as I do. So I want to welcome back to the show Lisa Donato-Glassner from thecastlerun.com.
Thank you for having me back. I've been preparing for this conversation all my life.
Once again, Lisa, before the show, just sends a message, I have notes, which I appreciate the research, but it's slightly frightening. I also want to welcome back Jason Knapp from HereWithTheMagic.com.
Hi. I don't. I have notes too. I'm afraid to say that I have notes too. I have some notes too, and I'm hoping they're different than Lisa's notes.
And completing the it's not a trifecta because there's four of us. Whatever. It's Kenneth Johnson from CompuServe.com. Kenneth still does not have a website of his own.
You've got mail. No. Hi, everybody, and thanks, Lou, for having me on. Of course, food is a topic that I love to talk about, whether it's in Walt Disney World or just outside.
And look, we all love to eat. We have done a number of dining reviews together on the show, and we've also shared a lot of other meals. We've shared a lot of meals on property without a recorder, thankfully, but we've also ventured far out, to experience some of Orlando's best. And, Orlando really has become a hotspot, not just for the arts, but for dining options as well, from Winter Park to East End Market to downtown Winter Garden, the Milk District, Restaurant Row, Mills 50, and yes, obviously within the four corners of Walt Disney World, there's incredible, V&A, Takumite, Blue Zoo, Kappa, Everglades, Polite Pig. But Orlando has been named multiple times like one of the best foodie cities in America. Like People Magazine in 2023 named it the best food city in the U.S. and also the food capital of the United States as well. So I wanted to share this week some of our best of the best places that we've discovered and have become, some of our go-to favorites, and places that we individually and probably collectively, there's probably a lot of overlap here, we recommend that you take your car or your rental car or hop in an Uber to go and experience for yourself. And if you're still not sure, just email me. I'll be happy to, go with you because I am a giver. So, what I want you guys to do is we're going to go sort of around the horn a little bit on our list and share either, the first ones that come to mind. You can count up, you can count down, like we'll like the NFL draft. Like you can, I'm sure a lot of you want to like mention one before somebody else steals it. But just very quickly, like Lisa, Jason, and Kenneth, when you first moved here from wherever it was that you moved from, we come here for Walt Disney World, but how surprised were you, especially over the past, I think, 5, 7, 10 years, just how much sort of the quote unquote foodie scene really has exploded in Orlando beyond Disney?
Well, I think the population down here has exploded, and the people are coming from places where they had great food to eat. So it only makes sense that the demand is obviously there, to say the very least. And it's been so amazing to see all these. We have some great, like, old local establishments that I think we'll all kind of want to talk about. But also, it's been great to see so many other things blossom up as the population has been demanding it.
Yeah, I think on that note about population, I think the thing that surprised me about the area the most was just how ethnically diverse the population is here. And that leads to a richness in the food that I did not expect.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. That's been the biggest surprise for me, is the diversity of cuisine. That it's just, I don't think for someone like me who before I moved here didn't really think about anything but the Disney bubble. It just wasn't something that I realized would be here. And it was here when I moved here in 2018. It was, there was an active, good restaurant scene then, but it really has exploded over the past several years.
I think the coolest thing for me, and maybe the surprise for me, is that we haven't seen an explosion of chain restaurants and things that you can find everywhere else. The thing that's been so cool is that it's not been blown up with strip malls with everything that you have everywhere else. We have some of those, of course, like everybody does, but there's so many one-off, awesome, creative establishments that really reflect their ownership. And I think
I do have a chain restaurant on my list, though.
Wow.
Okay.
I do, but it's special. It's special. It's a special. I promise. It's special.
Yeah, no, maybe we should
I have several that there's more than one of, but. Yeah.
Maybe we should define some ground rules, because, a chain can be defined several ways. A local chain, a national chain. There are a couple of restaurants on my list that started with a location in Winter Park. And then the success of that location led to another location here in the Orlando area. So if you want to call that a chain, we can.
We're all nodding because we know what you're referring to, and we all have it on our list.
Kenneth, nobody's going to say it. Don't worry. We all know your favorite.
I also think we should limit the number of Japanese restaurants we're allowed to include.
It's going to be interesting as we go through our lists again, like trying to make sure we are the one that claims victory over certain places. But to all of your look, back in 2018, I did a show about moving to Disney, and yes, I've been talking about this for years. I think now is the best time to revisit the Moving to Disney show, and we talked about. It'll be interesting to sort of go back and reflect on dining options in 2018 versus what we have now, because you all made the point that I wanted to touch on too, which is when we talk about sort of a diversity, not just of population, but in terms of the dining options that we have available. And these are not like, and I don't mean this in a bad way, these are not sort of quote unquote Disney-fied versions of, Japanese, Indian, Thai, whatever it is. These are like very authentic restaurants where that what you're eating is, what people from that culture would eat. And that sense of authenticity in a lot of these places, I think, only enhances the experience. So, all right, let's get into it, because we could sort of wax poetic about how excited we are. I always do ladies first. I'll do it a little different. I'm going to spin the wheel, and we will see like a game show, like who gets to go first.
This ended very poorly in middle school.
All right, it's ladies first. It's Lisa. We'll go Lisa, Khijk. We'll do Lisa, Jason, and then Kenneth, just doing alphabetical order after ladies first.
So before I jump in, I do want to lay out like my own personal ground rules really, really quickly, only because I want to clarify.
Raise your hand. Wait, very quickly. Raise your hand if you've been to law school and you're on this podcast. Everybody raises their hands. You could tell the recovering attorneys are like, here are my ground rules. Here are my disclaimers.
The only reason, you'll understand why in a second. So first of all, things had to be truly off property, obviously, no like third party stuff that's anywhere, within Disney property. I wanted truly like local joints. So not that I would anyway, but I'm not going to be sending you to any other theme parks. But like the main thing I wanted to say was that they had to truly be worth leaving property for. So like if you're on vacation at Disney, it's like a unique experience that you couldn't replicate. And so there are so many just phenomenal restaurants off property in Orlando, in the greater Orlando area. But I'm not going to talk about a lot of just really awesome restaurants, because there's really awesome restaurants on property and there's really awesome restaurants probably in your hometown. So I wanted to give you like good reasons to leave property if you were actually here on vacation. So with that being said, I'm coming in swinging because
I'm writing down what I think your first entry is going to be on my little notepad here. Go ahead.
Kenneth has this expression on his face like he's ready. So the very first night that we moved in, I opened up Yelp, because that's what you did back then. And I searched for a restaurant because I wanted a good meal and I wanted a local establishment. Like I wanted local Florida. And I did a search, and you can probably guess where I ended up. We ended up in Gotha at Yellow Dog Eats.
Oh, gosh, I can't believe, like Yellow Dog Eats was like my secret second round pick. Like not thinking anybody was going to go for Yellow Dog.
And Yellow Dog Eats was the first place I tried as well. And I heard about it from a bartender at the, I keep wanting to say the top of the world, but it's the California Grill. The bartender at the California Grill recommended that to me. It was the first place I tried too.
Yeah, it's probably the best known secret in town, but it's in a little town called Gotha above Windermere. It's probably like a 30-minute drive from Disney if you're on the Magic Kingdom side. Crazy, just the whole space is creative. The town of Gotha itself is fascinating. It was established by this German guy in the late 1800s who made his fortune in like printing press developments. And he took his fortune down to the woods in Florida and established this German colony that was Gotha. He bought up 1,000 acres and he established this little town and invited, all of his, friends who were German as well to come be there with him. And so they basically established this German colony in the Florida wilderness called Gotha, and it's still there today. And the house that Yellow Dog Eats is in was built back in 1910, and it's still standing to this day. It served a bunch of purposes over the years, but they've been in it, I think, since the late 90s. It's a crazy creative menu. They smoke all their own meat on property. They've got, craft beers. They do a lot of great stuff locally. I'll let you guys talk too. I'm sure it was on all of our lists. I just figured I would start with it and we would kick off strong.
Can I just begin with a confession?
Yeah.
Don't say it. Don't do it. I will pick you up right now in the middle of this recording.
They're closed. I just checked. They're closed right now. But I've never been there. I've seen it. I've driven past it so many times, and I've said, "Oh, look at that little place." And then I keep going because I'm on the way to somewhere.
I would almost ask why you would drive past it.
Gotha is I'm on the way.
Why are you driving in Gotha?
Right, because there's nothing.
Look, there's nothing wrong with Gotha.
And wait, and let's be clear. Like this, literally, Lisa, you said it. It's a house. Like this isn't a residential area. Like it must be some sort of weird law that they were able to sort of make this a restaurant. It is a house right, like in the middle of like I think there's like a church across the street, and that's it. And it's very. Like it's very quirky. Like it is a very.
It's on the way
quirky...
to all the. It's on the way to so many places from my house. It's because you're always going around lakes here, so it's on. It's
in the middle of nowhere, but on the way to everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, the property, the house was actually built by a single woman who bought the property in the early 1900s, and she built the house in 1910, and then later her husband moved in and lived there with her. And then over the years, it was a market. It was like a grocery store. It served a lot of different purposes, but I guess they just always had the commercial license. And so now it's this phenomenal. It's super quirky. Like it's an old house that's got like lots of different compartments. You can kind of go upstairs and find cubby holes to eat up there. But like the menu is so creative. It's all these different flatbreads and sandwiches and pulled pork stuff and tacos. But everything is really just thoughtfully put together. I try never to get the same thing twice.
What's your go-to? What's your go-to item? Jason, this is obviously not for you. What is your go-to item at Yellow Dog?
I think the what the fig I probably get the most. So, it's a pulled pork sandwich that has. I printed the menu so I would get it right. But yeah, it's a pulled pork sandwich that has goat cheese and this like fig.
Like a jalapeno
reduction.
It's like a jalapeno.
Yeah, the jalapeno fig
with goat cheese.
It's so good.
Why didn't we do that? Why we should be there now.
Kenneth,
I feel like you guys secretly get together when I'm like Jason's out of town. Let's all go to Yellow Dog.
That's accurate. That's pretty accurate. Yeah,
okay.
Kenneth, like, is this one like my kids love it? My kids, like, my daughter goes here all the time. Her own, like, this is one of the ones. Again, you're not going there because it's it's across the street from Target. You're going only for Yellow Dog, and it is absolutely worth the visit. There's inside, it's outside, it's pet friendly, vegan friendly, gluten friendly, but they have such like a creative barbecue and pulled pork and sandwich and wraps and tacos and nachos, and there's a bar there too. Like they do live music and stuff on the weekends. It's super kitschy, but the food's awesome.
It has kind of a hippie vibe to it too, with the VW microbus in the back and all that. Yeah.
Nice. Well done. Well done. I'm a little sad that I didn't get to sort of pull that one out.
Well played, sir.
All right, Jason, talk about a place that you that's
so mean. Well, the one place I've been, I was afraid that hopefully Kenneth, I don't think this is at the top of his list, but it's probably on his list, is Ravenous Pig.
Ravenous Pig or a Polite Pig?
Ravenous Pig.
Okay.
Ravenous, yeah. Because we're out.
Yeah, that was number one. That was number one on my list. But
I thought it would be the other place.
No, I was going to do the tie-in with Disney Springs and tell the whole story about.
Well, you do it. Take it. You can do it, and I'll just chime in.
No.
You sound like you're better prepared.
You guys are so cute. Listen,
you say
tomato. Well, I have two restaurants on my list that have a relationship in some way or another to Gideon's Bakery, which is really popular at Disney Springs. And both Gideon's and Polite Pig were restaurants in the area that were so well loved that they were invited to put in a location at Disney Springs. And so that's why I included it. But it's also fabulous food.
That's the thing. It's just really, really good. I mean, it's a husband and wife owned restaurant, and it's not a chain. They own Ravenous Pig and they own Polite Pig, of course, the amazing spot in Disney Springs. But also there is the oh my gosh, now it's the Lard and what's the name of it? It's
Lard
the
and
Lard
Casker.
Yeah, you can say, easy for you to say. It's that place if you're taking a flight out of MCO, right? And you're I think it's in the same terminal as Southwest, right? I think it's the Southwest terminal. It's a spot that you see if you're late for your flight, you see all these people like hanging out and look like they're having a good time and having delicious food. It's because they are. And it's amazing because it's owned by these same people. And it is some of the best airport food I've had ever. And I even just call it airport food isn't fair. It's incredible. But what I'm talking about Ravenous Pig, it's a farm to table concept. The menu is changing all the time, maybe even daily. There are some things you just can't get on certain days of the week because they don't get it from the butcher that day. It appeals to all different sense and sensibilities. Like if you can be a vegan and have an amazing dinner at Ravenous Pig, which sounds weird, but it's true. Their cocktail menu, I know they're known for their craft beer scene because they actually brew on site there, but their cocktail menu is incredibly inventive. It's somehow casual, but you feel like you're fancying it up. You feel like you're going to this fancy restaurant, but you're not. You feel you can dress Florida, as I like to call it, and still go there and have a good time. We actually went there as one of the restaurants we took some relatives to after Henry's graduation. So it's that kind of, it has this sort of celebratory feel, but also there's people there on dates, little intimate dates. And it's so strange. The vibe is just really, really welcoming. The service is always incredible. And it's some of the best food. It's some of the best food I've ever had. And
it really is. I mean, this group of restaurants is chef owned, and this is where the chef actually, I believe, just expresses himself because the menu's different every night. There's no go-to entree or main course because the menu changes every night, and it's all fresh farm to table, like you said. And it's just some of the best food I've ever had. I would characterize it as a what do you call it? A gastropub.
Yeah, that's fair. And I was looking at the menu to see if there's anything that's
yeah. So like, what's the go-to? So look, I'm going to you're sending our friends to Ravenous Pig.
There's no go-to. The only thing that I hear repeated, and this will turn some listeners off. It'll be really interesting to others. Is they have a pig's head.
Yeah.
And it's
it's not called that. It's called the French term
roasted.
for it.
It's a literal roasted pig's head. It comes out on a platter with tortillas and fixins, and you just pull off the head and make tacos out of it. But not all the food's like that. So if that turned anybody off, please.
Some people just wrote that off. Some people's kids are like, we have to go and get the pig's head.
Yeah. Yeah. And they don't always have it. You have to follow them on Facebook to know when they're going to have the pig's head.
Yeah, there's also they also have on, I forget what the French term is for it, but on one of their charcuterie boards, the charcuterie boards are insanely large. Feels like a table for 6 almost. But one of the items I think that's on that often, if not always, is a head cheese, which is also kind of made, I forget what the French term is. There's also a Portuguese version of it. I think some people call it brawn, potted head, things like that. Anyway, that's really good. But that's at the edgy. That's at the sort of the edgy side of things. Right?
Most of the dishes are very accessible there. They're just extremely high quality, fresh ingredients. I mean, you'll find things like fresh ramps when they're in season. You know,
and charred eggplant. Like there's a charred eggplant dish there that's amazing. And there's a corn and crab beignet that's there as well. Oh, so it's really good. It's worth the drive.
Yeah, and this is in Winter Park, which is about 40 minutes or so, depending on.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, but Winter Park is really for a lot of people like that is where they put the pin in again, not just for amazing restaurants up there, but like wonderful arts. I mean, the art scene in Winter Park is very, very like popular. There's a lot of like outdoor festivals, so you can sort of make a day out of going to Winter Park. This is not going to be the only Winter Park restaurant on our list. However, I've never been.
What?
First that's the first place we're going.
And that's wait. What about Yellow?
I haven't either. I've never been either.
Okay, so he has been invited. Let's just be clear.
Yeah, but you're like, hey, Lou, we're at Ravenous Pig. Do you want to come? And it's too late. It's not.
Yeah. Lisa has not been. So to her credit, she has not been invited. But she is now.
This is awkward. Lisa's having flashbacks of high school all over again. All right,
I'll trade you a Ravenous Pig for a Yellow. We'll experience them both together.
We have a good weekend coming up. All right. Yeah. Was that like whose was that? Was that Jason's? Was that Kenneth's?
I will count it as mine because I don't want to steal Kenneth's other one that I was.
All right, go ahead, Kenneth.
Okay, so look, my next one I picked because it's closer to property than 45 minutes. You don't have to drive too far from Disney Springs. And it's a Japanese izakaya.
Don't do it.
Do I
don't
need
you
to say more? Okay. All right, Lou, we can do this one together.
Yeah, go ahead and do it.
It's called Susaru, and it is one of my favorite places in all of Orlando. And it's right, I would say, 2 minutes from Disney Springs, maybe.
Yeah.
One of the things when you walk in the door, the thing I love about it is you have all this memorabilia on the wall. Some of it is from the founding of Walt Disney World, newspaper clippings, things like that. You have Shogun Warriors, which I don't know, they're kids of a certain age, maybe listening to this podcast like Lou and me. And we had Shogun Warriors when we were kids. These, if you don't know what they are, they're like these Japanese looking robots that are I'd say about 18 inches tall, and they shoot projectiles and put eyes out and do all sorts of dangerous things for kids. But we all had an
Ultraman, if that counts. Does that count?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good.
But the food, and when you finally get a seat, I don't know, maybe Lisa should tell us what izakaya culture is in Japan. But from what I understand, it's kind of a place you go after work, casual, to eat and drink. And the food here is just fabulous. My favorites are the jawbone of the hamachi that they serve, and the ramen bowls are amazing, and the green tea tiramisu is just like nuts. So I love it.
Yeah, I would compare izakaya culture to like pub culture in London. So it's sort of the gathering place that tends to be very shareable, really, really good food that's, very shareable and community sort of. The whole idea is to be together as a community and enjoy good food and good drink. So things tend to be very shareable and very tasty, and the vibe always tends to be a little bit more relaxed.
If people have been to Shikisai and Epcot, then you kind of have an idea. But imagine Shikisai, probably maybe even it's a similar menu, but a lot more affordable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think it's a lot more, I don't know, Shikisai is great, but it was kind of a repurposed space.
Yeah.
This space was, sort of done from the start this way. And, some of the chairs are milk crates, and it's kind of a quirky kind of atmosphere in there.
And I have to say that this just to kind of confirm how high up the list this is for Kenneth, when things began to thaw out after the COVID lockdown, this restaurant was the very first restaurant that Kenneth and I put on pants that
exactly
barely fit at that point, and made our way to, and it was like a ghost town because it was in the early days of May of 2020, and that was my first time there, and I had a very different experience from I think the normal, because it was not as sort of boisterous and kind of more fun atmosphere. It was kind of more subdued, but it was still amazing, really delicious.
So I have a lot. This was number one on my list. Like, it wasn't even close. Susuru was number one on my list. And I have a lot of feelings about Susuru. Again, it's It's on Palm Parkway. It's about 5 minutes from Disney Springs and is located, as many wonderful restaurants are in Florida, in a strip mall. You would drive right by it and never even know that you missed it. Like, you have to sort of know almost that it's there, other than looking at the line that forms around 4 o'clock for a 5:30 opening on weekends. That's how popular it's been. I remember when Susuru, I went for soft opening. Like, I don't remember how I found out, like, that it was soft opening. And I went, and there was like 4 of us in the restaurant. There was us, like me and my family, and everybody else was Japanese. And I'm like, okay, I think we're doing something right. Like, this is a good sign. Like, it's that total, like, when you say like Japanese izakaya, you think pub, it's a completely family friendly environment, right? I dig all that like Showa era nostalgia all over the walls. But where Susuru shines is twofold. The service at Susuru for this super casual like pub is some of the best service I've had anywhere. Like, the nicest people, they remember you, like, super, super friendly. But it's the menu where this shines. And in an izakaya like this, it's one of those, you order everything at first and everything is fired fresh. So it's a scratch kitchen. It comes out fired fresh. As it's ready, it comes out. So you might get your ramen before somebody else gets the yakitori, and that's fine. But like, there's a snacks menu and a yakitori menu, and like little, like the yaki onigiri chizuke is like, that's my go. I don't even look at the menu anymore. It's this rice ball with mentaiko and sesame seeds and scallions, but they also have, like you said, the grilled specials. They have I think 5 or 6 different types of ramen, but the menu is super affordable. Like, the snacks appetizer menu runs from about like $6 to $10, and they're super, super shareable. They have incredible craft cocktails. It is like one of the most authentically Japanese experiences, with this cool retro vibe and that sort of traditional Japanese street food. And it is a pleasurable experience, like, from beginning to end. So because it was number 1 on my list, and because we all sort of are in agreement about it, I want to sort of pair this with, this is like 1A, and I was sort of going to put these two together because a couple of years ago, Susuru opened up a second restaurant called Juju, which is located on 50, which is about, it's West Colonial Drive, which is about probably, I don't know, 30 minutes or so away. Again, this nondescript exterior, it's built in an old Pizza Hut. So if you remember, like, the definitive shape of a Pizza Hut building and that roof line, but you walk in and it's the same thing. It's this izakaya type of experience, which has a completely different menu. There's a few things that have carried over. It's worth the drive. They don't take reservations for either place. It's walk-in. So, like, get there at rope drop. Like, you want a 5:30 p.m. if you can, especially on weekends. But Juju has something that Susuru does not. And they have a capo bar, which is like a Japanese omakase. It's a 6-person capo bar. And a few years ago, they invited me up to go and experience it. I took my son with me. I kid you not, my capo bar experience, and I won't go too far in detail because I'm just going to, like, gush. It's probably a top 2, top 3 meal I've ever had in my life, period. Like, wow. It was outstanding. You sit at that bar and the chefs are there literally, like, deconstructing the fish. There's a lot of, like, smoke, but they explain everything to you. The presentation is gorgeous. It's gorgeous. You don't know what's going to be on the menu until you get there. But reservations fill up fast. It is absolutely worth every single penny. That's something that the 4 of us should do. I think Kenneth should take all of us and treat us to the capo bar at Juju one night, because it's that good. I'll take us to Denny's.
I second that.
Yeah. But Susuru and Juju, like, far and away, number 1 on my list.
Well, it's the least I could do for taking Susuru from you, Lou. I shouldn't have done it.
And it's like, it's so funny because as I was like putting these things down on my list, like, there was a little bit of that double-edged sword. Like, I want to spread the word, but I also want to keep some of the places like from getting too crowded. But like I remember, like I post photos where I'm like, oh, I just went to like my favorite local sushi place. So like, where is it? And I'm like, I don't want to tell you because I don't want, I like being able to walk in. But the gates are open, and it's. I mean, I post about Susuru every time I go, just because I love the place so much, and that's the whole point of this, is introducing you to some of the places that are our favorites. So,
and now, just for clarity, Susuru does not serve sushi.
No, there's no sushi.
No. There's no sushi at Susuru.
Correct.
But did you know that they do have a Juju does do a Thursday night different kind of omakase. That's Matsuri mini nigiri omakase. It's $79 per guest, and it's on Thursdays only.
Did not, but
it says quick and fun. This 1 hour omakase will focus on our dry aged nigiri and raw tasting. So that sounds like we have to do that too. So we have to go twice. Maybe 3 times, because we have to go to Juju proper, then we have to go to Juju
Capo Bar.
Right, and then we can do the mini.
Oh, right, so I see. Okay, so the omakase is only available on weekends, Friday to Sunday. The mini nigiri omakase is $79 on Thursdays. I think I'll pay for that, and then Kenneth can do the full-blown Capo Bar.
So we
can compare and contrast.
But now, the other thing we mentioned price here. Some of these restaurants that we've mentioned can get pricey. Like if you go to Ravenous Pig, you can spend a lot of money if you want to, but I think a person could eat there for less than $50. Wouldn't you say, Jason?
Yeah, I mean it depends, because they have sandwiches too, and they have. I mean, it depends on what you get.
Yeah.
You can get cocktails and expensive bottles of wine and appetizers, and I mean you can do a full spread and spend a lot of money, but you could also go there and oh my gosh, they have loaded hash browns now. Sorry, I was looking through Ravenous Pig menu again. Loaded hash browns, for example, bacon, scallion, cheddar, $9.
I'll see your loaded hash browns, and I will raise you. Ready? Matcha tiramisu for not.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Matcha tiramisu
for $7.
Pro move, baby.
They're not mutually exclusive.
Yeah. All right, listen. We've been talking for a half hour. We've mentioned 3 restaurants. We need. Let's go back. Let's go back to where we started. Lisa, you're next.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I have in my notes, never judge a book by its cover in a strip mall in Florida, because some of my favorite restaurants here, including a lot that are on this list, are going to be nondescript strip mall locations. However, I'm going to take a turn. I'm going a little off my original order just to mix things up a little bit, because I feel like we've been stuck in a different location. So I'm going to take us to iDrive, which is 30, 40 minutes away, sort of in the tourist district of Orlando. To a very, very cool restaurant that we love called Cafe Tutu Tango.
Ah.
I haven't been there.
Now is that a chain? I think it is, but
I believe so.
That's okay.
They may have additional locations. I don't know. But anyway, it's an art house and tapas bar. It's a huge location, super quirky, very, very cool inside. They have resident artists working there. They have live music all the time, and the food is phenomenal. So they have it's mostly tapas style shareable stuff that's super creative. They also have really good craft cocktails. They have sangria. They have beers and wines. They do a really, really good happy hour from 3 to 6 during the week, and then a great brunch with bottomless Bloody Marys if you want to add them on the weekends. Again, it's a fun location. It's off the beaten path. It's some of the best food I've had in the area, and again, very reasonable price tag, especially if you stop in during happy hour, to say the least. And if you've got your kids in tow and they're sort of picky eaters, they do have a super friendly kids menu that they can just order off of, and then the adults can do their own thing.
And they have a small plates tasting menu. They have a small plates tasting menu for $40 a person.
Yeah, so just to read off some of the stuff that's there, they've got street corn, crispy Brussels sprouts, stuffed dates, brick oven roasted sweet potatoes, chilled udon noodles, and green papaya salad. That's their cool tapas stuff. And then they've got chicken tikka masala, garlic maple chicken wings, smoked Thai spare ribs, sesame steak. It's really, really good. And it's just a super chill environment. And there's just art everywhere. They're selling local art. A lot of times in the center space, there'll be an artist that's doing their work or music going on live. It's just a fun spot and really, really good.
Let me write this down. Lisa taking us to Cafe Tutu Tango.
See, here's the thing.
Been there.
I've not been
never
here,
done
but this is the thing. This I said it. The small plates tasting menu. I'm not being paid to push this or anything. I didn't even know this place existed. But I'm looking at the menu right now, and this is perfect for me because if you're somebody like I am who goes to a tapas place and you're like, you have so many options, you don't know what to pick, and you realize when you're ordering with a group of people, you're not just ordering for you. When you're ordering tapas, you're sort of and they just get a lot of pressure. Like, okay, wait, does this person like? Okay, this tasting menu. It's a guided tasting of signature menu items. So they've done all the work for you.
And it's very, very reasonable. I knew we had like a ton of overlap, and this is a spot that we never really talk about.
Great.
So I figured it was something different. I didn't even put Susuru on my list because I knew Lou was going to cover it in detail, even though it's one of my favorite restaurants. Susuru is probably top 3 for me, for off property, but I knew Lou would cover that one. So I felt at liberty to cover a few new things.
And this,
this is one of our favorites.
This we should mention too. Like this place, Ravenous Pig, probably a couple other ones also have brunch menus too. Like, don't overlook brunch at some of these places if you're looking for a nice brunch option.
Yeah, like I said, and 3 to 6 during the week. Like if you're in the parks in August and you need a little bit of a break, at the height of the heat, it's a great meal. It's a great meal.
Yeah, and I think Yellow Dog Eats and Susuru are more kid-friendly than maybe some of the others we've mentioned as well. Something to think about. I don't know that Ravenous Pig is a place I would take small children, but...
No, and I think it depends. It depends on your kids. Everyone knows their kids, and I think I probably would take my kids there when they were teenagers, even young teenagers. But before that, with 2 boys who are unpredictable, nope.
Yellow Dog Eats. They can run around with your dog, no problem.
Yeah. All right, Jason, what's next on your list?
So, since we're talking about dogs, and this is where I'm actually gonna go to a chain, but it's a chain that this is the only location in Florida. All of the other locations are in the West, mostly in California. And it's a place that I still go to when I go out to California to visit, and it was right down the street from where we lived. And
there's In-N-Out Burger in Orlando?
You wish. And I just went here this evening.
What?
Yeah. It's Lazy Dog. Lazy Dog Restaurant. Lazy Dog, I think it's Lazy Dog Restaurant and Bar is the technical term. It is on 192. Is right by Kiki's, if you know where the Kiki's is down there. It's pretty close. It's like a stone's throw from, well, maybe a long stone's throw from Flamingo West and East and so forth. And this is gonna come off the wrong way, but it is like an upscale Miller's. Yeah, there's a lot of people who come to this country, visit from especially from the UK, who swear by Miller's Ale House. They love that place, and I go there, I'm like, I don't get it, right? But it is a very family friendly, sort of. Imagine like a Cheesecake Factory has their crazy long menu. This is about a quarter of that in size, so it's much more manageable. But it's a scratch kitchen. It is consistently great. Everything on the menu that I've ever tried in any Lazy Dog location has been amazing, including the Brussels sprouts. They have these crispy Brussels sprouts on the appetizer menu that are amazing, and they have these little tater tots, these little sweet potato tater tots on the appetizer that are amazing. Their burger selection is incredible. They have meatloaf. Michelle had meatloaf tonight. I hope I didn't just out her by saying that. They have all sorts of different things, but the coolest part is this. There's an indoor area, big indoor area, and of course a bar and so forth. But there's also this outdoor patio area, which in the evening or when on a cooler day is really nice. And people can bring their dogs to the outdoor patio area, and there's a little gate where people can kind of come and go from outside, and they'll bring out little bowls, water and snacks for the dogs, and it's just a really cool vibe. On a cooler evening, they have a fire pit out in the on the outdoor, it's covered outdoor area with enclosure. If it gets cold, they put the sides down. But it's Florida, so I don't think the sides are ever coming down. And it's just a really, really relaxed, cool vibe. Whereas if you want to be inside, where it's a little more sort of, I don't want to say raucous, but boisterous. You don't have to worry about your kids screaming or whatever. That's a good place to be. If you want to be outside, just maybe the two of you for a nice little romantic nibble on something. It's a nice spot to go. And it's right there. It's just right off of close to the intersection of 192 and 429. Really easy to get to, right by Animal Kingdom.
It's so far. Animal Kingdom.
I was waiting for it.
All right, now Jason can take us there, but he's driving.
Yeah. I'll drive. I'll drive. It's just a really cool place.
I've never heard of it.
I think Southwest has a flight to Animal Kingdom.
Oh my God.
I've literally never heard of this. This is a brand new one for me. I've never heard of it before.
Yeah. So you're welcome. And we should, and it's relatively inexpensive. It's not.
The menu looks great. Like the menu looks really good.
The loaded potato hush puppies are amazing.
Good Lord.
Incredible. The fish and chips, really good.
What time are they open
till?
till?
They have a chicken pot pie.
It's late while we're recording this, but
so it's funny. So in California, I don't know actually what time in California, it's one of the places where they close at 12 a.m. here. So it's like one of those places that's open real late, so you can show up. You can show up to the restaurant at 11 p.m.
Lisa's literally trying to find a babysitter for kids right now.
They also do this. They also have these. This started during COVID, and they've continued it since. And this is at all the locations. They have these frozen TV dinners, as they call them, to go. So they have some of their meals that are like made up and then frozen, and then you can buy them to take them with you.
All right,
which
I'm sold. I'm in. I dig.
Yeah.
I dig every part of this. Lazy dog, yellow dog, all the dogs.
I know all the dogs.
All the dogs. Kenneth, what is your dog related? What is the next dog related restaurant on your list?
Well, I hope this one isn't dog related, unless there's something I'm eating that I don't know. But this one I'm thinking about. You're in your resort. You're just too tired to go out, or maybe you feel like going out. This place you can go and sit and eat, and it's great. It's very close to the aforementioned Susaru. In fact, it's in the same strip mall. But it makes great takeout. And you can Uber Eats it or however you want to get it, sent to your hotel or your resort, whatever. And I'm thinking of the Kung Fu Kitchen. It's an import from, is it Brooklyn or Manhattan? I can't remember. It's an import from New York. And I think we're the only other location in the world other than New York. And it is a noodle house, ramen house, like dumplings, extraordinary. It's amazing. My favorite dish is the beef and scallion pancakes with hoisin sauce. I love that. I could eat 1,000 of those. And they're 1,000 calories a piece. So
don't ruin it by talking about calories. We're having a nice night here.
Yeah. I mean, it's just fantastic. I love everything I've ever tried there, from the fresh pork bowl to whatever you have is just going to be amazing. Love it.
I'm happy that you mentioned it, and I'm really sad because this was number 2 on my list.
Wow.
This was number 2.
I put it on my list thinking like, oh, they probably won't put this on their list.
It was number 2 on my list. I remember hearing about when this was coming down, and I also remember security going, Lou, you can't stand out here for a month. Like, I promise you'll be one of the first people to... It, like you said, it's in a strip mall. It's very easy to miss. This is some of the best. Again, it's the scratch, made to order, like Asian food I've had in the area, period. Like, it is very authentic Chinese cuisine, traditional recipes, fresh ingredients, super, super accessible menu. Like, the prices aren't bad. I have never had a bad meal here, like from the soup and the dumplings and, again, like the house-made noodles. It's also super casual. Like, you can just show up at any time, again, weekends, I would highly suggest getting there earlier. Yes, you can have it delivered and Uber Eats it, but I think part of the experience is going and eating it there. And, you know, we've been like together, like the four of us going, and I've also been with larger groups. And it is outstanding. It is outstanding. Like,
and they have really cool souvenir to-go bags.
Yes. Which you don't have to buy. Like if you just take your food to go, they give you like these really cool takeaway bags.
Or if you order takeout, you get them in these really cool insulated bags.
Yeah.
They're still. I thought for sure that wouldn't last.
And the prices aren't bad here. Like the prices are
they're not.
$10 for dumplings. The scallion pancake with the sliced beef, or that the Peking duck buns are just. And they have desserts. They've got like dessert dumplings and taro puffs and mochi cakes and things like that. It's there's something for everybody. It's super accessible, not just in terms of price, but in terms of the types of food. And obviously there's vegetarian options. Like Kung Fu Kitchen, the one in New York, has a Michelin star. Like that's how good is it? It has a Michelin star. So you know, it's super casual, but it's some of the best Chinese food I think that you're going to find, period. With that, and again, it's 5 minutes from Disney Springs.
Yeah, and I live about 20 minutes away from it, 15, 20 minutes away from it. And when I order takeout, the food arrives at my house and it's just as good as eating in the restaurant. So, yeah.
Because of that nice insulated bag.
Yeah, that's right. And nice insulated bag. I only have about 40 of those. I'm going to start selling them on eBay.
Kenneth's Christmas presents are going to be giving out in Kung Fu Kitchen bags. As I go through my list, and now I'm like playing a defensive position. Like as I'm drafting, I'm looking at the board of what's left, and I'm like, what can I say so somebody else doesn't take it from me first? I'm going to go with a recent discovery because it's a relatively recent opening. We have not been there together yet, although we should. I think we should go for dinner and then go back and try the brunch. I have to put an asterisk next to this one because the rule was this is places outside of Walt Disney World property, but technically by the letter of the law, it's on Walt Disney World property.
Ooh.
Because it exists in Flamingo Crossings, which you may or may not realize is actually owned by Disney. So the property is owned. So Flamingo Crossing is... It is off property. It's maybe, depending on where you're coming from, maybe a 15 minute or so drive from property. It literally just sort of popped up over the past couple of years. And it's this great little sort of hub. There's residential there, but there's this sort of hub of shopping and dining locations there. And I think the star of Flamingo Crossings, while I do love Skyline Chili, that is not my entry, although I did get to sneak it in and mention it. I have two words for you, and they are simply Capri. And I mentioned this when I went, I
don't know.
As someone whose last name ends in a vowel and is from the Northeast, finding really good and authentic Italian food in Florida, like Lisa searching for a black and white cookie, has been a challenge. There are a few locations here and there, but this is sort of the flavors of the Amalfi Coast with wood fire pizza, house-made scratch pasta, meat and seafood dishes. I hear they have salads on the menu in this it's a beautiful environment. The servers, like the Italy Pavilion in Epcot, the servers are all from Italy. So it's a very, like, every dish, every ingredient, and decor detail, and the servers are meant to be transformative and sort of transport you to Italy. Like, it is a very authentic Italian dining experience. You can take it out. They have an outdoor pizza garden. They have a new Sunday brunch, which I haven't tried yet. And it's created by Nick Valenti, who is the CEO of the Patina Restaurant Group, who you may know from about 10 other restaurants on Walt Disney World property. So the prices are affordable. The food is outstanding. I've gone twice. I went once like for a little tasting, and then I went back again with my family, and the food is like, it's food that I would, if my mom was still alive, I would take her here and know that she would really enjoy it, which is saying a lot. It's very casual. It's super inviting, fresh ingredients, traditional recipe. It is, if you are looking for really, really good Italian food off property, like reasonable prices, casual location, I highly, highly, highly recommend Simply Capri. None of you have been there before, have you?
I've never heard of it.
No.
I've heard Lou mention it before, and I have resolved to go.
Thank you for one of you paying attention to what I do.
Yeah, Lou, you talked about it a lot when you went, but we haven't been yet.
All right, I'm on the hook for Simply Capri.
I thought it was just a pair of pants.
Good Lord. Lisa, quickly rescue us from Jason's really bad dad jokes.
Yeah. Moving right along.
This is the easiest segue ever. It's a very simple conversation and a very affordable menu. So I would happy to be on the hook for this one. So worth the drive is a huge understatement for this one because it's about 30 seconds from property.
Wait, I know where you're going. Wait, I'm writing it down.
What if I told you that you could get a New York bagel at Knish?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, this is so good.
This is a good one.
A decent black and white cookie and pork roll.
Oh,
like within 3 minutes of the castle, because Stuff a Bagel
off my list.
Stuff a Bagel opened a couple of years ago in this beautiful little strip that is immediately behind Cass Parking at Magic Kingdom and right by our houses, and it is a full-fledged, like, proper New York deli spot. Like you can get whitefish, you can get lox. Like it's their second location. So it's a family that opened it. This was like their dream. I think they had one location first in Cape Coral. Kind of nailed down their, the process. Learned and then I think this Disney World location was like their family's dream. And I hope that they make $1 million and are here forever, because they brought like proper New York bagels to, within a few minutes of our houses. And it feels inside like you're in,
it's like Disney, York, like a little Disney cafe or something inside of New York, though.
No, if aliens transported a little like Italian bagel place from New Jersey and stuck it there, that's what it feels like.
Exactly.
But they have these cool references to not just New York and Jersey, but also to Disney. There's like these. It's really, really a cool space, but the people, the family is so nice.
They are great.
They're so nice.
So they're too nice. Like I don't deserve people that nice that early in the morning.
And they're from Jersey.
That's how I feel.
Like they bring the Jersey with them. Like I walk in, I'm like, I feel like I'm sort of back home in New Jersey again.
And it's worth mentioning, too, their hours are like 5 a.m. to 2 p.m., which makes a lot of sense because they're right behind Cass Parking. So I'm sure it's like a godsend to people headed to work for that first shift. But you get in early. It's like, it's real. Like they're making the bagels, before 5 a.m. Their doors open at 5 o'clock in the morning, and then they shut down early afternoon.
Yeah, if you get there late, if you go late morning, they may be out of your favorite bagel. Just be warned.
So fun fact, you may or may not know this about me, or you probably don't even care, but there's a point to my story. My family used to own a bagel shop. So as a young kid, like growing up, like I worked in a bagel store all summer long. And when I was home and stuff like that from college. So, and clearly I have the physique of someone who's eaten a lot of bagels. Like these are like legit, like New York, New Jersey, like water bagels. Like they've got the right consistency, the crunch on the outside. They've got the lox. They've got like the Jersey Turnpike, like pork roll, egg and cheese, salt, pepper, ketchup, like on a bagel, wrapped up and in wax paper and thrown in a brown paper bag. Like that's the way it's supposed to be. Like this is a great call. This is kudos for this one because I never would have even thought about it. If you're from the Northeast and this is what I imagined Florida to be. Like, I always sort of knew, like, well, when you retire, like, if you're Jewish or Italian in New Jersey, you retire to Florida. So I just figured there'd be, like, pork stores and bagel stores and, like, Jewish delis everywhere. And there's not because everybody's retired. Except these guys. They came down and, like, brought up taste and slices of New Jersey, authentic pork roll. Some of you call it Taylor ham, but you're wrong. It's pork roll. Great call. great call.
And just to be clear, like for everybody from like New York and, you know, my old area who's rolling their eyes right now, like Lou is like an Italian guy from Jersey whose family owned a bagel shop, and I'm a Jewish girl from Baltimore, New York, and they're good bagels. Like, we come with expertise. They're well done.
Yeah, and these are healthy schmears too.
Yeah,
that you're getting.
Yeah,
right.
They're generous.
It's really so good.
Tomorrow morning I'm going to stuff a bagel.
Yeah, you said you hope they make $1 million. I think my family's already spent that much there.
And just to be clear, a lot of people, there's a lot of buzz in the area, and mazel tov to him. Jeff's Bagel Run is another like very popular like local guy that like is hitting it and is opening up multiple locations. I had Jeff's Bagel Run yesterday. I was on my way somewhere and it was in the area. And there's sort of the two camps, right? Who likes Jeff's Bagels more than, I think if you're looking for a traditional New York, New Jersey bagel, Stuff-A-Bagel is where you go. Jeff's is good too, but different sort of consistency. They don't really do sandwiches at all. They do one thing. They do bagels and cream cheeses, and that's it. A couple of different coffees, and that's it. But Stuff-A-Bagel is without a doubt worth the drive. And like you said, if you're on property, like you could walk there from the Contemporary.
Yeah, if you're in a DVC with a kitchen and you are like in the Magic Kingdom Resort area, I mean, gosh, why would you not go get a dozen bagels and have them there all week or whatever?
Nice.
That's great.
It's so good. I'm so excited for tomorrow morning. I think I'm a little verklempt. Jason, I think it's your turn.
Well, I gave you guys plenty of opportunity to say this one. We've been through this is my third time, and I have no problem using this one. For me, it's Domu.
Oh.
I gave you a chance.
Curses.
I
gave you a chance.
Other than Sasuru and Juju, there's a cluster of 3 restaurants that I was just going to leave to you guys. I was like, I'm not even going to waste my time.
Number 3 on my list.
Okay. Let's talk Domu though. Yeah. There's one in Dr. Phillips, but I think it's worth the drive to go to the East End
Market
and make your pilgrimage to the original Gideon's Bakery, which is right there in the same shopping center.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the big plus if you go at the right time. Now, you have to hit Gideon's before you hit Domo because of the hours that they operate, but there's nothing wrong with eating a cookie before. Because, you might be waiting outside because this there's no reservations accepted here. It's kind of first come, first serve sort of thing. So you do want to get there early. You do want to get there close to when they open. And I think either location is worth going to. But if you are...
The other one's in Dr. Phillips, right?
In Dr. Phillips, right. Which is going to be closer to Disney property. This is a ramen dream.
Yeah.
Like, if for those of you who love ramen, who you haven't had ramen until you've been to Domo, it is insane how good this is. They make their own noodles there. They have... It's a fun space. It's like a fun menu, the names that they give some of the dishes. But it goes beyond the ramen, and I know that Kenneth and Lou are going to chime in more about these things. But it goes beyond that. The Domu wings.
Oh my gosh, that's what I was going to say. It's worth the drive just for that.
During
the kimchi butter
during
sauce.
the lockdown, my prayers were answered in that no, Disney wasn't reopening, and no, there weren't any nightly fireworks or anything, but Domu started delivering food, and I ordered a refrigerator full of Domu wings that I filled every piece of Tupperware I had with these wings, and I lived off of it for like a solid 10 days. I had nothing but it was. I'm only exaggerating slightly. Like that's how good these are. Like
they may be so much.
They may be the best wings. Like in the area,
they are.
Like
they
that's
are
how good they
the
are.
best in the world.
They use this
so
kimchi
much more
butter
than
on.
wings.
Yeah, they're like double fried. Like they're meat and they're meaty
double
too.
fried with the sesame seeds.
Well, they have the yuzu one too, right? They have this the yuzu one,
and they have seasonal ones too. They'll do like special wings too.
So good, and they have. I mean, they have that dish called cheeses, which just. Because it is biblical in terms of its experience. It's this roasted corn cut off the cob, Kewpie mayo, melted mozzarella, Japanese spices, scallions, lime on a toasted baguette. It's insane.
I really like the lobster bun too.
Yeah.
I haven't had that. I haven't had the lobster bun.
The go-to, though, is the Richie Rich ramen. The Richie Rich ramen.
Rich ramen.
It's this tonkatsu broth and pork belly and this black garlic oil. It is... It like, you want to talk about that like explosion of umami flavor. Like, even if it's 175 degrees outside, like, you go for the ramen, but absolutely get the way. Do you know it's not a star? Do you know it's a Michelin restaurant? It's a Bib Gourmand.
Yeah, it was
restaurant.
recognized. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Bib Gourmand. Yeah.
Do you know who? Wait, and I had to look this up because I thought it was fascinating. Do you know what? So gourmand is like us, like it's somebody who likes to eat too much. And do you know what?
A fat guy,
right? The fact. But do you know what Bib stands for? Do you know what Bib means? It's named after Bibendum, which is the Michelin Man.
Oh,
his name. Wait, the Michelin Man has a name.
It's Bibendum.
Yeah,
it's the Michelin Man.
Bibendum.
Bibendum.
It means to drink, I think.
This is.
So it's not quite a Michelin star, but it's like it's a close to it. It's as close to a star as you're gonna get, and it's worth it. Like,
can we talk about the ice cream?
I mean, yes.
They have this rotating. They have this the
ube.
It's never the same.
Ice cream. The black sesame ice cream.
But you can't know. I mean, you have to. I don't know if there's a way to know which ice cream they're going to have because it rotates and it's different every. Yeah. I don't know if it's on a schedule or not. If it is, it's worth going on certain nights. But I think it just kind of rotates. Is it weekly? I think it rotates weekly. But it. Oh gosh,
it is at either location. I think the location in on Sand Lake Road is closer to Walt Disney World property. But like you said, if you want to go up to and look, East End Market is it's up in the Mills District. It's about 45 minutes or so drive away. It's worth going to East End Market. Like, go on a Saturday, you can spend hours there. There's a lot. It's a 2-story, like, it's almost like food stalls, but lots of different arts and craft stuffs and food stalls and coffee places. Really, really
it's
good.
Like a community market.
Yeah, really, really good stuff. They do special events and stuff up there. There's a great Japanese, like taiyaki place upstairs, like a Japanese donut place upstairs as well. We love going up there. It's really,
the original Gideons. You can see, the early concept.
Yep. At tiny, but
tiny little stall.
A line out,
but no line around the block.
No, no. Sometimes you can go on a Saturday.
You can get your cookies fast.
I will say, for one of my momentum retreats, it's like the weekend, and I surprised everybody having Gideon's cookies. It was faster for me to drive up to Winter Park to get them from the original Gideons and then drive back than to try and deal with the line in Disney Springs on a Saturday afternoon. I kid you not. So
I believe it.
Wait, whose turn was that?
That was
mine.
Jason.
All right, Jason, go ahead. I'm sorry, Kenneth.
Okay, I've got 2 more other than Domu that were on my list, and I think I'm going. All right, we've had a lot of Asian. All right, I'm going. This is still. Well, it's a different part of it. It's where Europe meets Asia. This is Turkish food. And I'm going.
No,
I know
don't do
Jason knows what I'm doing here. This is Bosphorus.
Nice.
Yeah,
real
man.
nice.
Like
this is
like
where we had our first date.
Yeah, this is where I met Jason for the first time.
Not where we. I mean,
stop.
We met
Just
before,
stop.
but this is where it really came together. Yeah.
So there are now 3 locations. The original one is in Winter Park, and it's fantastic. The one where Jason and I met for the first time is in Dr. Phillips, just like in the same strip mall as Domu. And then there is now one closer to property in the Hamlin area. And they all 3 have really cool atmospheric decor. You feel like you've been transported to Turkey when you go there. The things that I love the most are the braised lamb shank. It is like to die for. And the mixed grill is also, it's traditional Mediterranean mixed grill. I especially love the pickled cabbage that comes with all the great meat that they bring out. And the big showpiece, and it's also delicious, is the lavash. And this pita bread is so wonderful. It comes out so full of steam that it looks like a basketball when it comes out, and then you just puncture it and the steam escapes from it, and it's just so soft and delicious. It's just Turkish goodness everywhere.
And you do need to, here's the secret, because there have been people who have gone and there's been some disappointing words, and not around the quality of the food, but with some of the dips and things that you order, they don't really bring enough like crackers and things and other little to eat it with. And I think it's because the assumption is you're going to get the lavash, you're going to get this amazing bread to begin with.
That's right. You have to get the lavash.
Yeah, you have to get it. You don't go without getting it. If you go without getting it, then you've done the entire thing wrong. So don't complain afterwards if you didn't have enough bread. Get the right stuff.
Yep. You have to order the lavash separately. I think that's the
thing.
The trick. It's a beautiful space. And also they have a really nice, like if you like sitting outside at like Nomad Lounge or something, like under the fans on like an otherwise warm day, it's that same vibe when you're sitting outside there. The fans going overhead. So even if it's hot outside, it's still nice.
And if you're able to leave having only ordered one lavash, then you've really accomplished something.
Not something to be proud of, because
and if you go up to Hamlin, like Cinepolis is up there, like Hamlin really sort of exploded with a lot of like great little restaurants and places to shop and stuff like that too. All right. I was going to say I'm waffling, but then I'm going to want waffles. I'm sort of in between three restaurants that are on my list that all serve the same type of cuisine that we have not touched on yet. And I think there's reasons to go to them all. But I'm going to go with the one that is not only closest to property, it's closest to my heart. I go there relatively often. It's delicious. It's casual. There's indoor and outdoor seating. It has a cool vibe, like especially on weekends. And the food is consistently incredible. It is a little bit of a modern tweak of Mexican cuisine. Great atmosphere. Great spot for dinner, drinks, date, friends. I am talking about Agave Azul.
I'm so glad you said this. I'm so glad.
Agave Azul is just off of 535. It's probably maybe 10 minutes from Magic Kingdom, just north in the sort of the Windermere Winter Garden border area. Huge menu, very family friendly, but there's also like this cool indoor outdoor bar. So there's this great sort of, if you want to just go like for, drinks outside and appetizers, you can do that. Especially when it gets cooler. The outside seating is wonderful at night, but the food is, again, consistently good. It's great for kids. Huge portion sizes. Everything is super fresh. The staff is always really nice. They've got like the enchiladas are amazing. The burritos and chimichangas, the tacos al pastor, like great steaks and stuff too. Obviously, a lot of vegetarian items. Nothing like. And it's not, what I like about Agave Azul is, and this whole area, and we've talked about this on the Moving to Disney show, the Windermere Winter Garden area, which is where all of us live, I'll post everybody's addresses in the show notes, is so close to property, but there's no tourism up here. So the folks that are eating at places like Agave Azul are folks that live in this area. You're not getting a lot of tourists there. It is not overly crowded. But I think it is, for me, like if I'm looking for Mexican food, and I'll name a couple of the other ones when we do some maybe quick honorable mentions, but I think Agave Azul is the best Mexican food in the area, in a great atmosphere and environment as well. And the prices are like, you're that close to Disney World, but they are nowhere near, like they're not Disney prices for food, if you know what I mean.
I will
and
say
it's
this
right
is
next door to Pokehana.
Dude,
See how I worked that one in there when it's not my turn?
It's on my list.
Yeah. I will say, this was one of the ones where I was like, do we really want to say it?
I know,
do we really want to say it?
I mean, Agave Azul is having no problem filling seats, but you're right. But it's that good. Like look, the people who are listening are our friends, and I want to share it with them because it's worth going to, especially if you're looking for, And there's great Mexican food on property. I think Rosa Mexicana at the Swan is sort of the hidden gem of Mexican food. By the way, we have to go there. I haven't done a live review of that yet.
If you're buying, because the thing is about Rosa Mexicana, it's delicious, and the staff there's amazing. They're great, but it's not cheap.
All right, so I'll buy at Agave.
It's not inexpensive.
You can buy at Rosa
Agave.
Mexicana.
That's what I'm saying. You go to Agave, you could eat. I would say you could eat at Agave 2.5 times before you get to the same price. Agave Azul is it's consistent. It's accessible. I've never waited very long, even when it seems crowded. I have had to, if you sit outside, sometimes you have to be careful there's not birds around because they can be aggressive. But they have that cool little bar window area too, where you can sit outside, sort of undercover, but you're sort of looking inside. It's just a really cool. It's
easy, like
space.
it's easy and accessible. Like it's just
really easy.
Super casual is what I like.
You can make it longer in and out.
One thing I will say, if you go there on a weekend night and you want to eat inside, sometimes it feels a little bit like a disco in there. The music is kind of.
You say it like it's a bad thing,
but if you want to. If you go on a weekend night, I would eat outside.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not in August.
Because then you can go to the little ice cream. Place too. Yeah.
All right. Let's do one more each, and then do some quick honorable mentions. Lisa, Jason, Kenneth.
Or you can get a Muji cake over at Pokehana.
Would you stop taking Pokehana away from me? We almost have to mention Pokehana now because he said it like 15 times. Was that going to be your entry, Kenneth? Is that?
No, I have one honorable mention. Ready to go.
Very quickly. Pokehana is in I think there's 2 or 3 Pokehanas. There's one on Curryford Road. This one is in the same. It's in the Windermere Shopping Center. This is a small, casual, think like quick service custom poke bowl and like healthy bowl, tuna and shrimp and tofu and things like that. Consistently good, great menu, like super nice staff. You can eat inside or outside. It's fresh. It's healthy. You can customize it however you want. They do takeout. They do delivery. Again, I've never had a bad meal. And the folks that work, at least at the one by here, are super, super nice as well. It's a great place for lunch too. Really nice place to go for lunch. It was on my list. It was high on my list.
Wow.
All right. Sorry, Lisa, go ahead.
Okay.
No,
this
these
is
are all
honorable
good.
mention. Lightning
No, this
round?
is one more and then an honorable mention.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to do sort of a general one for my last, and it'll probably have a nice little conversation where we all tie up some loose ends on our list. So I'm just going to make a general reference to a phenomenal neighborhood that's like 25, 30 minutes north of Magic Kingdom that we've mentioned in passing a few times during this conversation, called Downtown Winter Garden, which is... It's a great place to just kind of hang out for the day, hang out for the evening. There's like a lot of like kitschy shops. There's good restaurants. There's another great restaurant there called the Whole Enchilada that has great food where you can sit upstairs and eat. There's some nicer restaurants there. Some more casual places. There's a really
Street Market.
Well, that was sort of going to be my punchline, but thank you, Jason.
Well, get around with. I mean, how long are you going to make us wait?
Pokehana.
Yeah, but the location in general, they have a great farmers market every Saturday morning. There's great coffee shops, there's wine bars, but like Jason said, the one place, if I was going to choose one place to kind of go there and see and hang out and get the vibe, it would be Plant Street Market.
That's such a good choice.
There's a local brewery there called Crooked Can that has an outdoor area that's very dog friendly. If you just want to go chill with your dog and have a craft beer and a nosh, there's like a brick oven pizza place. There's a great cheese stand where you can get real raclette. There's a butcher stand area that's got great food. There's a sushi booth, of course. So Plant Street Market kind of has it all, but I would encourage anybody who kind of heads that way to plan to give at least a couple of hours to kind of stroll around otherwise and see everything else that they have to offer. I know we're not talking running right now, but also West Orange Trail, which is a 22-mile running trail that is actually going to be connected to this thing that runs the coast to coast soon. Actually goes straight through the middle of old downtown Winter Garden. So it's like a cool path that you can walk and takes you to some other cool areas. You don't have to run on it. You can walk on it. It's just a beautiful scenic trail.
They also have swinging chairs in that trail area. If you don't feel like running, you can just sit and watch.
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, it's certainly not just a running trail. It's just a beautiful place to take a walk, and it continues.
And the little train, the little caboose. You can go in the little caboose.
Yeah, they have bike
the little
rentals.
Train
at
museum
some of
thing that they have.
Yeah, there's a train little thing, but yeah, there's bike rentals along there if you want to just make a day of it. But there's all kinds of stuff to do up there. But yeah, if I was going to choose one place to go, I would say Plant Street.
Nice. Yeah, it is worth. And like you said, Saturdays they've got the market, and you can sort of make a really nice day out of going up there. Super family friendly. A lot of I love going up to the market. Supporting a lot of the local vendors and purveyors and stuff like that. So. I tuned out when you talked about the running stuff. But all right, Jason, what's next on your list?
So this was kind of a maybe I was going to add, because I was like, I don't know, maybe it's too far outside of the Disney bubble. But since we said Agave Azul, and now we're all the way up in Plant Street Market, I'm going to go, this actually isn't quite as far. It's on the way. So you could hit Agave Azul, and then on the way to Plant Street Market, you could go to Parati's Deli.
Oh, dude, that is such a good pull.
Because I don't think there's a. I haven't experienced maybe there's a better one. I haven't experienced a better deli in this area, or even outside the Northeast. Yeah. They're like, the guys are from. I think they're from New York. Mm-hmm. The menu's very sort of deli like. It's sort of limited in terms of they do sandwiches. And they do sandwiches really well. And yeah, you can get a wrap or something like that if you're interested. But they have the corn, the beef, and the pastrami, and I don't think they have any black and white cookies. You don't have to worry about that.
They do.
Do they?
Yeah.
I never get any desserts there, but they have 17,000 different versions of chips that you can pick from. It's a relatively small space, so it's limited seating inside. Really nice people, very affordable. I was trying to find their hours because they're not open late. I think they're open until 7 on the weekdays, and they actually close earlier on Fridays. I think they close at 4 o'clock on Fridays, because apparently they like to give their employees some time off, I guess. But it's located, I don't know, I'm trying to give it's right off of 535. So if you are headed north.
If you go to Agave Azul and make a right.
Or if you go north of Magic Kingdom, if you're headed towards the Turnpike or 429, you'll pass it on the way up there.
Right, and if you're on 429, so coming north, then you can get off at 535 and head south, and it'll be on your right. It's right, and bonus, it's in the same shopping center as a Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, this is what I meant. When Lisa was talking about Stuff-A-Bagel, this is sort of the lunchtime version of Stuff-A-Bagel. This is the New York, New Jersey Italian deli with the boar's head meats, really good pastrami, served on, they import their bagels, right? They import their bagels. And the people are super nice. If you want a good pastrami sandwich, this is where you go. When I want a sandwich, this is the place that I go to.
What do you get? What do you usually get?
So I either get a traditional hot pastrami on rye, hot, warm with mustard. They also have something called the Rachel, which do you ever have the Rachel?
Not the haircut, but the sandwich.
Right. It's a hot or cold pastrami with Swiss, with coleslaw and Thousand Island dressing on rye. Chef's kiss. So good. But they have they'll do regular subs too, but they have a lot of
the pastramageddon. Pastramageddon.
Yeah.
That's the hot pastrami, pepper jack, hot peppers, jalapenos, Thousand Island dressing, and creamy horseradish on rye, on the marbled rye. Oh my god.
Did you ever have the Grosvenor Square? The roast beef with melted cheddar, A1 sauce, and crispy French onions on a toasted Kaiser roll. Oh my god, good. I'm so hungry.
He's so good.
Yeah, and super
Parati's was where we got so their bagels are legit too. That was where we went for our bagels before.
You've never gotten bagels from there? Never gotten bagels.
So they just bring them in. They bring them in from Brooklyn Bagel, and they're Right. They're frozen in like freezer storage things in the front of the place, and you pull them out, but they're properly frozen. Like they defrost and toast and taste perfect. Yeah. So
But
they're
the
not.
clay, you get a traditional pastrami sandwich on rye, warm. They give you the pickle on the side. You get your chips, and you get a Dr. Brown's cream soda.
And they do have a big salad. The name of it's the Big Salad, which I think is an Elaine reference, a Seinfeld reference, but.
Nice. All right, Kenneth.
Okay, I'm going to try to pick one that I think no one on this call has been to. And that is, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but that is the Black Rooster Taqueria.
What?
You guys ever been there?
We're all Googling right now, like black.
Okay.
No.
The Black Rooster Taqueria. It's a little bit of a hike. It's on Colonial as well. But the thing to go for there, the pro move, is the pork fat taco.
Oh my God. Jeez.
It is so amazing. Now, that is not the only thing on the menu, but it is the thing that will change your life. And many of the tacos there are just crazy good. This is a gourmet taqueria. And the other thing I really like there are the pozole bowls, where it's kind of a slow cooked meat in a broth, and all kinds of goodness sort of stirred in. It's amazing. It's kind of like a Mexican answer to a ramen bowl. And this place, I'm telling you, it is absolutely worth the drive. It is.
Where is it?
Fantastic. It's
in
actually
Mills,
over
right?
on,
Is that in the Mills district? Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
I'll make a deal with you, Kenneth. You drive, I'll buy. You pick us up, I'll buy, because it's the tacos are like $4.
At your house. I'll be at your house within 5 minutes of this podcast.
Done. Wow, that's a nice. I've never even heard of it.
It is amazing.
And sometimes, like we're talking about places that are in strip malls and up on 50, and you're like, and like if you come to Disney World and don't sort of go outside the bubble, like, do not be afraid to sort of venture out. Like, these places are relatively close but very accessible, and you might pull up and be like, well, wait a minute, this is like a tiny little nondescript thing in a strip mall, and there's like a bail bondsman next to it. It doesn't matter. Like, these are some of the best places to find some of the best food. I'll tell you a very quick story. My son, we were out one day, and he found a place on, it was either like TikTok or Yelp or whatever it was. And it was this little like taco joint, and it had nothing but 5-star reviews. And so we're driving on 50, and I'm like, dude, I don't see it. I'm like, and the map says that we're here. I'm like, well, let's just pull into this gas station and figure out where to go. I'm like, maybe this was a taco truck that like used to be like in the parking lot of the gas station. No, it was in the back of the it was inside the gas station. It was Antojitos Tacos. And I'm like, dude, are you sure, man? Like, gas station tacos is like gas station sushi. I'm not sure. He's like, Dad, look at the pictures of this food. Like, it has nothing but, and we walk in, and the guy in the front of the gas station, who is behind plexiglass and iron bars, is like, yeah, man, the tacos are in the back. The tacos also behind, like, and I'm like, well, we're in for a penny, we're in for a pound, let's do it. These are some of the best tacos we've ever had, like, in a plastic bag, like in styrofoam, like lady in the back cooking. They now, from what I understand, have like their own standalone location because it was that good. So don't let the cover, of the buck necessarily fool you from what's inside.
That's right.
The last one on my list, because I don't think we've mentioned a proper place to get this food, and it's my favorite type of food. I get this question all the time, like, where do we go for like legit sushi? And
oh boy,
yeah, like I was torn on this one. I was really torn. When we first moved here, there was a place very close by that was sort of, I called it my secret sushi spot, and it was amazing. It was literally right down the street and was consistently good. And then I don't know what happened. They changed owners or whatever, and it hasn't been consistently good. However, if I want to go and I know I want to have like exceptional, quote unquote, worth the drive sushi, there's a couple of places that come to mind, and I had to pick one, and I brought it down to 2. And the one that I think is worth the drive is to head out to Turkey Lake Road, which is over by the dark place down the street over by Universal. It's Sato Sushi, Seito. Why do you have your head in your hands, Jason? Have you never been?
Because it's not a big space. It's not a large space.
This Sato Sushi years ago, and it's only
Can
been
we at
around.
least send them to the one in Baldwin Park?
This went from like this tiny little like local sushi place. I remember when I first moved here, I went and I was like, oh my God, it's like I discovered fire. Again, in this strip mall that has like a Whole Foods and like a Michael's in it. But you walk in the door and it's this like beautiful, upscale, like authentic, very innovative, like Japanese cuisine. And it went from being sort of this the place that the locals went to really something that has become, I think, one of the hot spot sushi locations. But what I like is that the menu, yes, you can get all sort of a lot of traditional, very, very fresh fish and hot and cold, menu items. But the level of quality and creativity on the menu, and now they just redid the back room. They have this beautiful, like cherry blossom tree in the back. They too have a Michelin star. They have an omakase menu that you can get as well. But if you are a sushi aficionado, like the food at Sato Sushi, which, by the way, super secret, if you go, like, I think between 5 and 6 o'clock, you can go during happy hour as well. But they have something called a distinguished, I speak for a living, I swear. It's a distinguished gentleman roll. It's Wagyu beef, lobster, avocado, wasabi aioli, masago, jalapeno, and truffle salt. It will knock your socks off. The food is amazing. The service is exceptional. I love going to the one on Turkey Lake Road. So whether you are like new to sushi or you don't even like sushi, there's a lot of like hot things on the menu as well. It's
including the Wagyu burger.
It is
which is ground Wagyu, ground on the premises.
Yeah, like even like the bao buns and stuff are so good.
Yeah.
I was going to say the bao. I think Sato kept me alive during the first part of COVID. Like their deliveries.
Oh, you could get deliveries there?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, they wouldn't go out to me. Okay.
Lisa invited.
In fact, they would deliver cocktails along with their food.
Lisa invited my family over to a house at one point. It may have been during COVID, and I was going to say no. Like my gut reaction was to say no, and then she's like, "I'm ordering Sato," and I of course, I mean that was sort of what sold it for me. It's why I went.
So can we dilute that a little bit by mentioning the other one as well?
Yeah. So to sort of spread the love, Kabuki Sushi, which also has 2 lake locations. There's one off Sand Lake. There's another one. There's another one on Colonial, which again we're talking. It's which is also referred to as 50. Same thing. It's traditional sushi, like contemporary spins and flavors on it. They too, I think the one on Turkey Lake on Sundays, right? Don't they? I think is it Sundays? They have like the ramen bar on Sundays as well. Kabuki was a very, very, very close second, but I think Sato is exceptionally good.
Yeah, Kabuki doesn't omakase. They're Dreams Beard nominated as well. And again, again, like don't judge a book by its cover. Like when you pull up, you're going to think we're out of our minds potentially. And it is like a little bit like a club inside. I prefer sitting outside there, but the level of creativity across the board in every dish is like unmatched. And they're like cocktails and mocktails and stuff.
And you can both have upscale experience. You can go in casual or have an upscale experience if you want to.
Yeah, you can absolutely, like most restaurants these days, you can go in, a nice pair of jeans on the top or play it up
or
a
stretchy
little bit more.
pants.
But yeah,
stretchy shorts is fine.
Yeah, definitely.
Pajama pants.
Pajama jeans. All right. Listen, I'm sure we all have tons more on our menu. Just very quickly, without going into too much detail, anything that you have that you feel is worth mentioning on an honorable mentions list? Lisa, Jason, Kevin?
I think I have one thing that you brought up the tacos. This wasn't on my list, but it made me think about this place that it's been a bit since I've been there. It's still there. It still gets great reviews. It's the Akoi. I think it's the Akoi Akoi Taco Company.
Yeah, Akoi Taco Company.
And it's literally on the other side of the tracks. It's like it sits like right next to the railroad tracks. It is not quite in the back of a 7-Eleven, but it's one of those places
dump.
If you drove by
Let's
it, you
just be
think
honest,
there's no
it's a
way I'm
dump.
going in there. I'm not. Although they do have one of those giant lawn chairs outside that you can sit and they have your picture taken. But I don't think I've had better tacos.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
There.
It was a food truck, and she, the lady who ran the food truck, decided she was tired of driving around, and she and her husband set up a little restaurant there, next to a factory, next to the railroad tracks, and it's a dump, and that's how you know it's going to be good.
And I think when we went the first time, it was 6 large men. And I think we ordered 2 or 3 of everything. At one point, we ordered so much food. At one point, they asked us to stop.
Yeah,
please stop, because they couldn't keep up. Right.
And you can get the lingua tacos there.
Oh,
the beef
so
tongue.
good. Oh my God, that is good. That's so good. And it's cooked perfectly. But if I remember correctly, I think when we walked away from the experience, I think each one of us has spent maybe including tip, like $27.
Yep.
If that, it was so affordable. Oh, I'm pretty sure Lou Mangello was invited. He's giving me this look.
Don't seem to remember. I'm looking at my
phone. Oh yeah, I'll find the text.
I don't see it. No. My BlackBerry must not have been working that day.
But we need to go back. There's so many places that we have to not just go back to, but apparently try new
for the first time
as well.
Kenneth, Lisa, any others on your honorable mention?
Yeah, just a couple quick ones that are very quick mentions. One of my favorite places to go, not so much like for the food specifically, but because it's like the most authentically like Florida dining experience I think I've had anywhere down here, is it's about 40 minutes away, excuse me, in Mineola, Florida, or Claremont. Lou, I think we dragged your family out there one time.
Yeah.
Lou does not like going far to places, and I think he was ready to kill me by the time they parked their car because he did not know where I was trying to take him. But this place, it's called the Lake Mineola Inn and Tiki Bar. It is so cool. It sits like right on the lakefront on Lake Mineola. You can rent pontoon boats and take them out and fish, or just kind of hang out on them for the day. It's the most beautiful sunset in the world. It's right over the lake in Lake County. So if you can get there during that time of the day, it's gorgeous photo ops too. It's just like burgers. They've got like a really, really good like seared tuna burger, like fun drinks and stuff like that. Like they have, I think, won some awards for their burgers, but the food is good, but it's just solid, good food. Like on a lakefront in Florida, it's just the coolest environment. And the inn part, I can't speak to because I haven't stayed there, but it does look very cute. And I've gone back and forth with the family that owns it as well. And it's another one of those situations where it was just like a family dream to do this with this property, and they've made it happen. And I know they're super excited about it. So the inn does look very cute. But just to drive out there and sit at the tiki bar and spend a few hours, watching the sunset is a really cool way to spend the night.
If your mom wasn't there, I would have been a lot more aggravated about the drive.
And also, I just want to throw out a quick restaurant to Columbia Restaurant in Celebration.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of 7. It's one of 7 in the Florida area. I think the one in Tampa was first, and it's like the biggest Spanish restaurant in the world and the oldest restaurant in Florida. But if you ever want to have a meal with like a family that just loves serving food, and you can just feel the love in every bite, like Columbia Restaurant and Celebration. It's another one that's on the water. It's a nice place to take a walk and explore a little bit. But yeah, if you're going to go out to Celebration, that's a good spot.
Speaking of on the water, Mount Dora. How did I not think about Mount Dora?
Yeah.
You drive
Pisces
out to Mount
Rising.
Pisces Rising.
Rising.
So
good. So we should be there like every Sunday. It is amazing. It's right there on the lake. It sort of actually sort of sits up on the hill above the lake. You sit outside. That's the move, and it's just really fresh. Seafood, steaks. Henry, I think maybe got his favorite steak ever there. And it's just so beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And the town, Mount Dora, if you haven't been to Mount Dora, the town
Mount
itself,
Dora
just walk
great.
Around. And there's so many great restaurants. We could have an entire episode about.
Do you ever go to the flea market up there? Like go to the antique market and the flea market?
Yeah. Because in the Pisces Rising's right next to that area where they do the market. It's really
if you want to go,
I have to go up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to go up there every so often because it's the only place you can get a Segway scooter repaired. So my kids' scooters, we always have to drive them up there, and we always eat at Pisces Rising. It's amazing.
So nice. And there's a British tea house there. There's one or two, maybe two German restaurants.
Wave
that are
Sushi.
in
Wave
town there
Sushi's
as
up there. Wave Sushi's pretty good too. All right.
I have one honorable mention, Lou.
Lay it on me.
One. Okay. And this will go full circle back to our opening comment about the diversity in Orlando. One of the biggest influences here, of course, is Brazilian. And there is a place that I want to just mention. It's called Mr. Potato. And it is a Guy Fieri featured restaurant. And you can get excellent feijoada there. If you're a Brazilian, you know what I'm talking about. And all kinds of just wonderful goodness. I recommend it if you're in that area. It's out way past, it's on the Conroy Windermere area, way past Dr. Phillips, but it's amazing.
It's Mr. Potato, not Mrs. Potato?
Mr. Potato, not Mr. Potato Head.
I'm getting all kinds of weird results on my Google search that I need to clear my cache. But all right, so I've never even heard of this. Kenneth, you win the gold star for places I've just never heard of before, let alone having tried. So you'll have to take us to a lot of these. I see as we're all sort of furiously trying to look up what is the actual website? Because as of right now, I just
I'm sorry. It's Mrs. Potato. I'm sorry. It's Mrs. Potato. Yeah.
The Potato
it's Mrs. Potato.
It's the Potato Institute, according to Guy Fieri.
Guy Fieri.
Are we sure it's still open? Because I thought that had closed.
Oh.
I ate there. I don't know. I'm not sure. But I ate there. It's been about 6 months ago. 7 months ago.
All right, wait. I'm trying to see what their socials
Were they serving you from around back?
No.
It might still be. I thought they had closed, but I could be wrong.
I don't see any sort of socials on here. Well, we'll see.
Let's see if their website's up.
The website is up, but it says copyright 2021, Mrs. Potato Restaurant. All right, so we'll have to find out. We'll have to find out more about Mrs. Potato Head. I have a few more. I'll mention two very, very quickly. And I know we mentioned a Mexican location before, but there's a place over in Dr. Phillips called Bar Taco, which I really, really dig.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Yeah, we've been there before. And
Right
what I
by
like
Domo.
about it's right next to Domo. In that whole strip, there's a lot. There's like a Peruvian
And
restaurant
Bosphorus.
there. Bosphorus is there. There's also a great Italian restaurant. Like it's old school, like Sinatra, like big red leather couches, like Italian restaurant in the back as well. But Bar Taco is a super cool, very casual, like fresh, like flavors and small plates. So if you're looking for something like totally cool and casual, not usually a long wait. And what I love is that everybody orders individually from your phone. Right, so you pick the stuff you want on your phone, or you can order like for the group if you want to. Same thing, like as it's ready, it comes out. So you just sort of order like a couple of tacos here. All right, these are great. Now I'm going to try one or two more. Then I want to try like the plantains. And I dig sort of being able to just continue to order stuff until you sort of explode, which is really sort of my barometer for when I stop eating. It's like $4 or $5 a taco. Like the prices are really great. The staff is like, from what I understand, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Like the staff, like are all owners. Like there's all sort of like they all sort of have ownership in the restaurant too. So the staff is really wonderful, worth a trip over. And the last place I will mention is a place that my daughter introduced us to in Winter Park. Again, we sort of keep talking about some of these locations where there's a lot of great dining. It's called the Glass Knife, and it's really like this cool breakfast, lunch, brunch, bakery and cafe with like artisanal pastries and desserts, very sort of light meals, and this very like cool, relaxed atmosphere. Like they have a chicken salad croissant, which literally is worth the drive to Winter Park. Great baked goods.
Some chicken salad.
Yeah, I do as well. So if you want to do like a super and again, you can go up to Winter Park and spend the day doing a brunch. You go shopping, have a really nice dinner. There's always like art festivals and street festivals and stuff going on there. So the Glass Knife is on. I see we're all looking at the lightning that's going on outside of our houses.
We're all hearing it at different times.
And look, I know we've been talking for a long, long time, and I appreciate you like sharing, and hopefully you're if you're still listening. But the point is, there's so many great restaurants, and I'll try and put these in a list, and I'll put them in the show notes with websites and addresses in it. But what I love about all the places on our list, which we did not obviously talk about ahead of time, there's a lot of overlap because, we go out to eat occasionally, but I love that these restaurants they're not, what I mean when I say this is they're not Instagram restaurants, meaning there's so many places that sort of like become flashes because they're Instagram worthy, and you go in and they're very coolly decorated and they're neat, and they've got a couple of like signature things that look great on Instagram, but maybe are not consistent, or maybe they're not like, these are all restaurants that you go to for the food and the overall experience. They have been around for a long time because they are consistently exceptional. And for us, they are worth the drive as locals. And I think we're sharing because we also feel like they're worth the drive if you're coming to Walt Disney World and want to try. And, when I travel, I want to eat where the locals eat. So when you come to Orlando, yes, Walt Disney World has some of my favorite restaurants on the planet, but there's also so many great options very close to property, and some that are worth a little bit of a drive, or renting a car, or even taking an Uber. Go to downtown Winter Garden and walk through Plant Street. Go up to Winter Park for the afternoon. There's lots of great stuff up there. Go to Harry P. Lou Gardens and make a day out of it. Any last thoughts in terms of what we mentioned? Convincing people that these are worth trying or taking the ride for. Any sort of last thoughts, Lisa, Jason, Kenneth?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all, like, what I led in with was the same thing I'll close with, which is that while there's, I could easily name like 15 phenomenal restaurants on Disney property where you could have like, a remarkable dining experience. And so I think we've all been trying to focus on things that are sort of a little bit different, a little bit of a twist on that make it worth going off property. It's logical that so many great places have opened because so many people have come down here and they come from places with great food. So it's been exciting to see it take shape. And there was a little bit less overlap than I expected. So that was cool. I've got some good notes.
Speak for yourself. You guys took all the ones on my list. Jason?
I just think for a lot of people, if they're like me, when they go to Walt Disney World for vacation, you just really don't think about leaving the bubble. You don't think about seeking other places. And I get that. I totally do get that. But I think it's definitely worth, especially if you have a car. If you don't have a car, you could still
call
Uber
Kenneth.
to
Just
some of
call
these
Kenneth,
places. They're real close,
Kenneth.
or you could even order it. And Kenneth will take you. He'll even bring a little souvenir insulated bag with him for you to take the food home with. But these are some really cool areas and some really special restaurants, and I think it's definitely worth getting out at least maybe for one meal. You pick a night or pick an afternoon or something to head out and see some of the town, especially Lisa's idea of going up to Winter Garden and spending some time sort of walking around a neighborhood, because you're going to get a very different sense of what the Walt Disney World area is. And it's not if all you've ever experienced is the ride from Orlando International to Walt Disney World property, you don't realize how many awesome things are happening around. And I don't know, I think it's worth expanding the horizon a little bit, and it also inserts a nice little break into your vacation. And it's going to taste really good.
It's interesting that you say that, because I used to always look out the window on that drive from the airport to property and wonder about all those people that were, that lived in those houses, that were there along the way, and how close they lived to Disney. And that was all I could think was, oh, their proximity to Disney is blank. And, you start to wonder about those houses as you come here more and more often. And so Jason was just saying, getting off the beaten path and kind of seeing what the reality of living here is and that we can be in the backyard of Disney, and it truly does not feel like you're in a tourist area at all. So there's just so much to explore here. So if you're a regular Disney visitor and you're kind of ready to get off the beaten path a little bit, I think there's a lot out there.
Yeah, I think especially if your vacation includes more than just Disney. Absolutely. And by the way, Mrs. Potato is still open. There are recent Yelp reviews as recently as the end of May.
Good.
So
Ken looked very concerned when he said it might not still be open.
Yeah.
As we were just wrapping up, I haven't thought about this it's probably been 20 years, and this memory just came flooding. Something one of you said made this memory come back, and I'm going to share a very personal story, because I still have residual guilt about this, because I'm Catholic and Italian. I remember as a kid, I was probably 13, 14, somewhere around there. I was with my family down here in Walt Disney World, which is why I love this place so much. And I remember my dad wanted to try this restaurant off property. And I was like, are you, what? Are you insane, man? Look around you. Look at all the places to eat. And I remember being not very happy about not going. And I'm sure I gave my dad so much grief about going to this place off property that he just wanted to try so bad. He wanted to go to the steakhouse off property. And I remember, I'm sure I had like this pouty face and like I, forced myself through it. And he just raved about how good it was. And I remember how resistant I was to it. And my dad is long passed. It's been, it's been 14 years since my dad's passed. But I still have this like residual guilt. And I tell this story, one, because clearly I need to have this sort of cathartic release. And two, don't let yourself or don't let your kids be like, no, I don't want to leave property. Yes, there are amazing places to eat. And you can come to Walt Disney World for 20 years and not eat at the literally hundreds of restaurants here. But there are. First of all, do it for your dad. Do it for my dad. But there are so many incredible places to eat off property. We have just scratched the surface. And I would love to know from you, who is listening at home, who is probably starving right now, one, what's your favorite place? What's a place maybe we didn't talk about? Your secret spot, your go-to location, the place that you want to or recommend trying eating off Walt Disney World property. And maybe we should do a live review. Like maybe we sort of take a little informal poll and see if somebody would like us to do a live review of one of these off-property locations.
Or many,
or more than one off-property locations. Very quickly, Lisa, Jason, Kenneth, this is not going to apply to you. Please tell folks where they can find you and the stuff that you do on the internets.
I am the Castle Runner on Instagram, where I share our day-to-day life living a mile from the magic at Disney. I'm also a photographer in the area where I help you tell your Disney story. I do portrait work as well as fine art stuff that you can bring into your home. You can reach out to me for that or find the fine artwork over at thousandcirclesimages.com.
And for me, you can head over to herewiththemagic.com. You can go to YouTube and search for Here with the Magic, or wherever you get your podcasts, search for Here with Magic. We do this cool little podcast called Soundscapes. It's all about celebrating the sort of quiet moments of joy in Disney spaces and places. And on Insta and all the other stuff. Here with the Magic.
I think I just heard you do what my kids call the podcast voice. Like you got like very low and very deep, and it's soundscapes.com. It's
very ASMR. So,
Kenneth, do you have anything to share other than your home address?
I'll just say good luck finding me on social.
Kenneth is the smartest one.
The only reason I have a Facebook account is because of Lou Mangello and this group right here. Because if I deleted my Facebook account, I'd lose touch with this wonderful community. But you will never find me anywhere else.
What about at Mrs. Potato or something like that?
Yeah, maybe. Okay.
If you want to find Kenneth, just go to any of the restaurants that we have.
No, I'm on LinkedIn if you want to search for me there.
So this has been great. This has been wonderful. All right, let's take it out with a lightning round. I don't want any sort of discussion. I want just your answer. Super simple. Lightning round. Where do you go for the best Italian food? Lisa, Jason, Kenneth, go. Best Italian. Quick. Lightning. This is lightning.
Apparently, Simply Capri.
Yeah, apparently.
Yes, Simply
I guess
Capri.
I need to get to Simply Capri.
Where do you go for the best steak?
Me?
Anybody?
I would go to Shula's on property at the Dolphin.
Interesting. I'm going to go to Ravenous.
It's absolutely the best steak.
Best barbecue in the area. Kenneth, you're a barbecue guy. Other than Kenneth's house, where do you go for the best barbecue?
Yeah, I was going to say Kenneth's egg.
Polite Pig. Four Rivers Smokehouse.
Yeah, Four Rivers is on
Four
my
Rivers
list.
is good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Best seafood?
Ellie's is good too.
I've never been to. Have you ever been to Bubblicious? Bubblicious?
Yeah. We got some food from there once. Yeah, it was good.
Best Mexican?
Agave azul.
Black Rooster Taqueria, baby.
Yeah, I'm going to try the Black Rooster now.
Kenneth is going to take us to the Black Rooster this week.
Yeah, we're
all piling in Kenneth's Cybertruck or whatever he drives and going up to the house.
Yeah. Yeah, and we need to go to the Koi Taco too.
Best bagel, that's no question, right?
Stuff a bagel.
I put Stuff a Bagel over Jeff's.
Yeah. What about best pizza?
Dude, that's a whole separate show. That's a whole separate best pizza. How do we not talk about a pizza place?
I don't know.
I don't know. Well, you guys are probably gonna laugh at me, but I really like Paisano.
Paisano's is right. Paisano's.
People swear by Paisanos.
Yeah,
people swear by it.
Paisano's in Windermere, I think, is the best pizza in the area because we suffered from.
So I don't feel.
Yeah, we suffered from a lack of a good pizza place. That's a great call. I didn't even think about pizza. Paisano's has great like plates and stuff too. Yeah, good call. The Captain's Pizza at Paisano's.
Captain's Pizza.
The Captain's is the way to go. All right, so you're picking me up right now. You're picking all of us up right now. Where do we go? Where do we go for a late night snack?
Well, we can still get meal. We can still get food at Lazy Dog. They're open until midnight,
and it's quarter off.
I really am dying to try this Juju Capo bar now,
dude. It's going to change your life. It's going to change when we're going to make reservations when we're done with this call.
But late night, Black Rooster Bake. That's where you go.
I think he's actually going to go. He's so pumped up, but I think he's actually going to.
Get ready to test your knowledge in our Walt Disney World Trivia Question of the Week, where you can see how well you know your Disney history, your details, or can identify a quote or sound clip from the parks. If you get the answer right, you'll be entered to win a Disney prize package. And this week's trivia contest is once again brought to you by you. Because as a part of the WDW Nation, you can become an important part of every episode of the show, live broadcast, and community. And for as little as $1 per month, not only do you help support the show, but you also unlock exclusive rewards like monthly scavenger hunts, group video calls, private community access, and mystery surprise care packages. Plus, your contribution helps our Dream Team project, which sends children with life-threatening illnesses to Walt Disney World through the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and thanks to your generosity, we've raised more than $500,000 so far, so thank you so much for helping to make real magic happen. I also want to thank some new and longtime members. I so appreciate your love, support, friendship, and help, like Kelly Fossil, David Rodriguez, Melissa Collier, and Chris Lynn. If you want to find out how to help the show, join the nation, and get the rewards, you can visit www.radio.com/support. Now, before we get to this week's question, let's go back, review last week's, and select our winner. So last week, I played and asked you to identify this sound clip from the parks. What do you think? Did you get it right? Maybe playing a little bit more from a different part of the song will help. And yes, that is from the extinct attraction Horizons, and music by George Wilkins. Now, if the name George Wilkins sounds familiar, he worked with composer Buddy Baker, did a lot of the arrangements for things like Listen to the Land, Kitchen Cabaret, but really was sort of the main composer for a lot of Epcot songs. You may remember such ditties as It's Fun to Be Free for World of Motion and the ride music for Journey into Imagination. And did you know that New Horizons was also the name for a rejected Sherman Brothers theme song for the Horizons attraction? If you go back, listen to our Horizons Wayback Machine on show number 12 back in 2007. So if you got that one correct, congratulations. And last week's winner, randomly selected, is Ava Roca. So Ava, congratulations. I will send your prize package out to you right away. If you played last week and didn't win, that's okay. And if you don't know your Disney music, that's okay too, because here's your next chance to enter in this week's non-musical Walt Disney World Trivia Challenge. All right, we're talking about food. Let's stick to food, specifically snacks this week, but this time in Walt Disney World. Because the Cheshire Cafe in Fantasyland was at one time known as the Enchanted Grove. But when Magic Kingdom opened in October 1971, this location was something else entirely. What was it? And for bonus points, not that I'm giving points, but for bonus points, what was its name? What was this original location? And what was its name? You have until Sunday, July 7th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern to go to WDWRadio.com, click on this week's podcast. Once again, you'll be playing for a WDW Radio keychain, stickers, pin, and a mystery prize. So good luck and have fun. That is going to do it for this week's show. Huge thanks to you for taking the time, subscribing, tuning in, and being part of the community. Quickly before you go, remember, I'd love to know your favorite place to eat off Walt Disney World property. I know it might sound like sacrilege, but there is some great dining outside of Walt Disney World property. Let me know by being part of the community and conversation over in the clubhouse at wdwradio.com/clubhouse. There are a lot of fun conversations going on, or start your own, or if you want to hear something or learn about on the show, post it there and let me know. Don't forget to join me this and every Wednesday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern for WDW Radio Live. We can talk about this week's episode, what is going on in the Disney world, and anything that you want to chat about. You can now watch on Facebook and or YouTube, facebook.com/WDW Radio or youtube.com/WDW Radio. Connect with me on social. I'm at Lou Mongello, where I primarily post on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, little tiny bit of X. And of course, I still believe that nothing beats a handshake and a hug, so check out our events page at www.radio.com, where you can find about in-person events, our next meet of the month in Walt Disney World, coming very soon, I promise, as well as our Adventures by Disney to Japan, Disneyland in Southern California, and our river cruise on the Seine in 2025. We also have not one, but two cruises, including our Halloween on the High Seas on the Disney Magic this October to both Castaway and Lookout Key at Lighthouse Point, and our cruise in February on the Disney Treasure. You can get a free no-obligation quote from our friends over at mousefantravel.com. Again, just go to the events page. And look, whether you are coming to Walt Disney World for one of our events or are looking to book your own next magical dream vacation, no matter where you want to go. For more than 17 years, my trusted partner is Mouse Fan Travel. They handle all the planning so you can focus on the memories. They offer free, yes, free vacation planning services. It's who I use, it's who I recommend, because it's who I trust. You can visit them over at mousefantravel.com for a free, no obligation quote today. And if you are looking for a keynote speaker for your event or a conference or to your business, I share lessons from the Disney parks on customer service, leadership, and experiences. Or if you're a creator, an entrepreneur, or solopreneur looking to build your business, brand, or take your idea to the next level, find out some of the ways that I can help you and we can work together, and more about my Momentum series events, including my Momentum Weekend Workshop this fall in Walt Disney World. 3 days, 1 room, 50 entrepreneurs for a weekend that I promise will help you turn what you love into what you do. You can learn more and reach out to me with any questions, again, by going to LouMongello.com. Finally, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for being my friend, for being a member of this incredible community and letting me be a part of your day and week. I hope that the show put a smile on your face, maybe a little bit of hunger in your belly, and that it inspires you to choose the good. Remember that every moment and every interaction that you have is a chance to choose the good and make magic happen, not just for yourself, but for somebody else. Have a great day and even better tomorrow. So until next time, see ya.
Hi, Lou. It's Christy from Anchorage, Alaska. I absolutely love your show, and I recently just listened to the episode on Disneyland Paris, which I had the opportunity to go to last summer, which was amazing. I was so pleasantly surprised with how nice and accessible everything was. Not along lines at anything, and it was just a very, very nice and chill day. But what I really, really loved was the Hollywood Studios park, and I think it was a show with Mickey Mouse. It was Mickey and the Magician. Was just so cute and so Disney, and probably my favorite part about that park. The second part was definitely the food. There was little booths, almost like food and wine booths that were located around the park. And I don't know if that's a permanent fixture or if it was just a seasonal thing, but I got the best churros, the best raclette, and some small glasses of wine to walk around the park, and it was absolutely magical, just getting to experience another Disney park. Thanks for having me on. Bye!